Welcome, welcome, welcome. As May said, welcome back to the turntable on Active FM, where radio has never been better, with Ari Styles, D Money, and Shiki.
Right. I am Aristyles. This is the turntable where we keep you learned and get you turned. Or get you learned and keep you turned. Whichever way you want to look at it.
And I'm D Money, and we'll be bringing you the facts, playing you the tracks. So today we're gonna get into something new. We're gonna be discussing labels, and one of the biggest or greatest label out there, Def Jam.
Are you talking about labels, is sticker labels or...
Ari, if you were with us in the notes and what we were preparing for the show, you know exactly which label we're talking about.
You're just talking about labels. You said labels.
The book labels.
The book, could be book labels. Yeah.
What
Other
other
kind
labels you know?
Other labels. Okay, let me see it.
Okay, but
LGBTQ plus is also labels.
So, as we said, we're speaking about record labels. So, the first record label to what we know to take a hip hop act was Sugar Hill Gang, right?
Mhm.
But Sugar Hill Records, it's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily a hip hop label. Just that
They signed the act.
they signed the act, which was Sugar Hill Gang, right? What we all know, rappers delight, right? But in 1980, but now we're speaking specifically about
But
Def Jam.
Just a question: if they had a Turkish person in the group, would they have been called Turkish Delight?
Most probably. No, the song is called Rappers Delight.
I'm aware of that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if they had a Turkish person, would it have been Turkish Delight?
They were supposed to then they were gonna call it Turkish Rappers Delight.
Shut up.
Okay, but anyway, we are speaking about Def Jam. So it actually started in the Def Jam was initially created in 1983
Mhm.
by Rick Rubin. At the time he was 20 years old.
But not him
and-
alone, wasn't it? Him
No.
and Russell Summers.
I'm coming to that one, right? So in 1983, Rick Rubin creates Def Jam. He was 20 years old at that time. He had an idea of creating the label while he was in a university dorm room, right?
He was in Dom's room, Fast and Furious.
No, in a dorm room, not dorm room. In a dorm room, right? He was still in university, right?
So he wasn't with family.
Okay.
He
sorry.
wasn't with family.
He was not a family. So must I rather use the
use
full
the
word?
full word. Say the full word.
Dormitory.
Oh. Pronouncing big words.
Yeah, I'm pronouncing big words for a short guy. But anyway, yeah. So he actually took a loan from his parents to create the label, right? His first act was releasing a single from his punk rock band, right? Hose. HOSE.
Okay, so the misconception that LL Cool J was the first artist on Def Jam is not true.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to what's it called? That's punk rock, right?
Okay, so that's the first hip-hop act then.
No, yeah. That his first what's it called was just he just released a single of for his band rock for his punk rock band,
Okay.
right? And then in 1984, DJ Jazzy G introduces Rick Rubin to Russell Simmons. That's where they meet in 1984. At that time, Russell Simmons was managing
Run DMC.
Yeah, managing Run DMC. That's when they partnered up, and then in that same year, they meet LL Cool J.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes in. Where
That's
the,
where it comes
where the confusion comes in because Russell Simmons was managing Run DMC.
Yeah,
Run DMC was not on Def Jam.
no.
A lot of people, obviously because of their connection to Def Jam, always assumed Run DMC was on Def Jam.
Yeah.
It was not the case. From what I've always heard, LL was the first artist on Def Jam.
LL was the
And
first.
because Russell Simmons was obviously managing his brother's group, and then Leo Cohen was, I think, their road manager, and that's why the ties to Def Jam
Yes.
always come in. But that's why people always thought Run DMC was on Def Jam.
Yeah, so with LL Cool J's story, LL Cool J's story getting into Def Jam, he basically sent a tape,
A demo tape.
a demo tape in, and he used to pester them to say okay, and until they heard, and then that's when they in that same year they released LL Cool J's "I Need a Beat." Right, it was the first hip hop single. Alongside, and then after it was also Beastie Boys.
I'm aware
Right.
of that, yep.
Right, yeah. From there, that I Need a Beat and the Beastie Boys started hyping up. Then in 1985,
Well, just for clarity, it makes sense because the Beastie Boys were a punk rock group before they changed to hip
before
hop.
they changed, yeah. So LL came in, and then Columbia Records in 1985. Columbia Records assisted him
Distributing.
distributing. Then they made LL Cool J's debut album called Radio, and from that day, from then, that's Rick Rubin basically produced the entire album, and from then, that's when
Took off.
Def Jam took
No,
off.
well, Def Jam is like the quintessential hip hop label. Like, if you think of hip hop, you think of Def Jam. If you think of Def Jam, you think of hip hop. Although over the years it's changed and they started signing some other funny acts. But even if you speak to any of these rappers, watch their documentaries, watch their movies, their series, whatever, all they ever said was they just wanted to be on Def Jam.
Yeah.
Like, you could have had a better deal elsewhere. Even if you the Wu-Tang series, what is it called? Whatever, there's a Wu-Tang series now about Wu-Tang Clan, and there's a thing where ODB had a better deal elsewhere, but he wanted to be on Def Jam, and Raza took the deal. I think it was on Loud or something like it, and he was angry about it just because he wanted to be on Def Jam. That's what Def Jam meant to hip hop.
Yeah.
They were one of the pioneers, and
They
the-
are the pioneering label.
They
if
are
you think
they are
about it.
the
It's just that
pioneering label.
over the years,
Yeah.
they started doing funny things like signing artists,
Yeah.
like social media
Yeah,
artists
yeah.
and
Then
things
no,
like that.
yeah.
It's not really rappers.
Okay. Yeah,
And-
Def Jam not only now with social media artists, right? So in 1987, they took a few risky moves, right? Where they didn't want to be boxed only into hip hop. Because between 1985 and 1984, in 1987 they were boxed into.
But they were
hip-hop.
moving units because
Right,
LL's never had an
yeah.
album that hasn't gone gold or platinum. The Beastie Boys is one of the highest
Mhm.
selling hip hop acts of all time.
Right?
So they were moving units.
Yeah. So they didn't want to be boxed into hip hop, and then they were basically then they signed a metal band called Slayer, right? And then after that they was then after in that same year they signed Public Enemy, who consisted
Flavor
of
Flav.
Chuck D and Flavor Flav. Say that, yeah, boy. Say that.
Yeah, boy.
No man.
Boy!
Say it properly, man.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Right. Then as you spoke about earlier, Leo Cohen being the road manager for Run DMC, right? In 1988, there was when Russell Simmons took Leo Cohen as the president of Def Jam, right? There was a clash between Cohen and Rick Rubin, right? And then Rick Rubin basically left,
The
He
label.
took Slayer
Yeah.
with him,
and then he
took
yeah, and then he left and he created his own label, or it was originally called Def American Records, right? Then in 1992, there was basically financial troubles with Def Jam. They were in a rough patch, and then Polygram, Polygram Records purchased 50% of Def Jam, right? And then they took basically they took control of the distribution and basically saved.
That's why there's
The
a
label.
line where it says, the label wanted to draft Def Jam. Damn, can you picture Russell needing a check, man? That's a nice line. And that's why you always hear, you always heard people, they say Redman saved the label and they say Warren G saved the label. That's
Orange,
because
yeah.
Redman was consistently putting out gold and platinum albums. And this was like early 90s before he linked up with Math and things like that. And then obviously Warren G didn't sign to Death Row, he signed to Def Jam. And his first album, we all know what he did with Regulators and all of that on there.
Yeah, so like to add to what you were saying there, so that was the time when they had like they signed Montel Jordan, Public Enemy, Redman. They had Redman, LL Cool J, Method Man, as well as so that was part of what, like you're saying, the Violator Records, and that's when they signed Warren G in his album, the Regulate G-Funk Era, which actually brought them quite a lot of money. And
I think he did
Six.
4 million or something
Yeah.
like it. That's why they've always said Warren G saved it. Warren G and
That's
Redman,
makes
I've heard
sense. Yeah.
those narratives a few times.
And then you see Def Jam, then you get Def Comedy, the Def Comedy.
Yeah, they did other endeavors.
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
branched out
Comedy, yeah.
into quite a few like joint ventures with a lot of different labels.
Yeah, Murder
Sony.
Inc., Rockefeller, Rough
Yeah.
Riders. Well, Rough Riders was in the scope. It was only DMX. It was on
Yeah.
there. But
So in 19 in 19 in, in nine,
Dubset.
yeah. So in 1999,
Violator. Anyway.
yeah. So in 1999, right? Russell Simmons sells his stake in Def Jam to Universal Music Group, right?
Mhm.
So Universal Music Group basically bought out Russell Simmons' share, which was about 100 million, right? Um, and then we all know DMX first. DMX basically from Def Jam, right?
DMX was Rough Riders Def Jam.
Rough Riders Def Jam.
The rest of Rough Riders were on Interscope. DMX was the only act that was Rough Riders Def Jam, whereas the rest of them were Rough Riders Interscope.
Right. So because of Gory assisted Russell Simmons with assisted artists like DMX, right? That's where of Gory got Murder Inc. because of
He
his-
brought in Jay, he
because,
brought in DMX.
because he brought in DMX.
Yeah, and his eye for talent.
Yeah. So that's when they gave him
The Murder Inc. imprint.
the Murder Inc. Yeah.
And DMX's first album actually did drop with Def Jam.
All of his albums until I think the fifth one
yeah,
was with Def
it's-
Jam.
I think he dropped 5 with.
Yeah, I think
with
5
Def
with
Jam.
Def Jam, and then afterwards he went to Interscope because they dropped him when Jay became the president.
Yeah. So from Def Jam we had a lot of subsidiaries like you get a Murder Inc. the Rough Riders.
The Rough Riders was never there, but yeah.
Rough Riders wasn't there?
Rough Riders was Interscope. Only DMX
Interscope.
was.
DMX,
was
yeah.
there,
Only
Def
DMX,
Jam,
but
yeah.
oh okay.
Rockefeller, Dubset.
Yeah, Rockefeller. Sorry, Rockefeller. Yeah. Then basically in 2000 and
Straight Property.
yeah, State Property is part of Rockefeller.
Rockefeller, but it was Rockefeller, Def Jam.
Yeah. And then in 2004, Jay-Z gets appointed, as you said, as the
President.
president of Def Jam, right? That's where
The problem start.
The problem started with Rockefeller, and that's how the
Well, the problem start with Def Jam also. If you look at it, you can cite that as one of the moments of Def Jam's downfall. Because you had a lot of marquee artists leave at that point. You had LL moving crazy units, you had DMX moving ridiculous units, you had even the guys that were doing gold and just platinum all started leaving at that point because you having a fellow artist, someone that you're competing with, become the president of the label.
yeah.
And then he take the entire budget for himself.
Mhm.
So all those artists then asked to be let go from Def Jam at that point because of him becoming president. So that's where you can see the first problem start coming out with Def Jam.
Yeah.
Because how can you be signed to someone that you're competing with? He holds all the cards. He can not
Yeah.
release your album.
Yeah.
Like they said, he took the entire budget for himself. The marketing budget for his music.
Yeah. Then basically in 2011, Kanye West announces good music distribution deal with Def Jam, right? Like I told you, that's how Def Jam. Why we say Def Jam is the legendary hip hop label because
I don't
they-
even think legendary best describes it. I think it is. Those hip hop and Def Jam go hand in hand. Unfortunately, over the last few years, they've been having problems. They change the CEO and the president and all that every few years. They weren't signing proper acts. Like I think they signed Trinidad James or something like that. That is,
They even signed Justin Bieber.
yeah, okay. It used to be a hip hop label, and then they started doing some other funny stuff, and they've been struggling. Like even recently, M's manager was the president.
Yeah.
Or the
that's
CEO, and now he left again, or he got fired, whatever. They've been struggling over the
Yeah.
past few years. And then they've had artists that blew up, like Lil Durk and things like that, but they let him go before he blew. So they have been struggling over the last few years, but still, Def Jam will always be Def Jam.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to end it off to say I was going to say in it. I was going to end it off with saying in 2018, Paul Rosenberg takes over Def Jam, and you all know who's Paul Rosenberg.
No,
He's the
don't.
manager. Okay. He's the manager for Chicka Slim Shady.
That's irrelevant. He was managed, and he did a bad job clearly because he's not there no more. And the label is still doing nothing. So they've been messing up in terms of the acts they've signed in and their promotion, and it's like they still. I heard they recently signed LL back, so that's a good thing. Before DMX passed away, they were gonna resign DMX, or they did resign
Just
DMX.
on that note, it was I think for the 35th anniversary of Def Jam.
Mhm.
So that's when they signed DMX, and then DMX was supposed to perform at the show, and he went AWOL, doing things that only DMX can do. And then it was Fabulous and Jadakiss who actually saved that show to come in.
Yeah, because I think Jadakiss has been with him for years.
to cover in
I don't think
for-
he left really. Jadakiss, he's been
Jada.
with him for a while now. I think the Locks is on Rockefeller. Rock Nation, but
Mm.
Kiss
Rock
himself
Nation.
is on Def Jam. Like I said, they signed LL back, they brought him, so they trying to revive it and bring it back to
Do what it's
to
supposed
hip hop like
yeah.
that there. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. But it's that is
Because
Def
LL
Jam.
has never not had a successful album, so I think even if he drops today, it will still do something. Remember,
and
he
he's doing
had 80s, he had 3 decades of being 80s,
12 albums.
Being
90s,
cool. Jay.
and the 2000s.
I
It's only
think-
the 2010s
I think-
where he isn't
yeah,
really.
I think he's I say the first to sign in the start to have a recording contract that stated he must release 12 albums.
He's put out 13 albums.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, according to his contract, most contracts maybe say 3, 4 albums, no? But his contract stated 12.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, he was successful, so he could have come back and renegotiate those contracts.
Yeah.
Because he also left the label in the mid 2000s.
Yeah,
And also
I think after
something
his
In
13
the
one, yeah.
like in also I think in '98 or so, that's when Def Jam also had like a spin off with Def Soul.
Mhm.
So that was more on the R&B side. That's
Yeah.
when they had like Drew Hill, they had the Isley Brothers, Kelly Price,
Yeah.
and then they had Montel Jordan,
they've always had
112.
R&B.
The R&B. There is like I said.
Yeah,
they
because
branched
it
out, yeah.
goes hand in hand. Well, at that point in time, hip hop and R&B didn't go hand in hand, but
Mm.
now it does. So they've always had an R&B factor, but I think even the way we describe it now doesn't give you just the ounce of the importance of what Def Jam is to
I-
hip hop as a
yeah.
whole. Like that is the quintessential hip hop label. That is the one.
Yeah, and speaking about hip hop and R&B, right? Back in the 90s, right? If you R&B was a little bit higher than hip hop, so hip hop artists wanted a feature from R&B artists, right?
Not early on. It started happening what Puff.
Yeah.
Prior to that, remember you even had Ice Cube dissing the rappers
Yeah.
that did joints with R&B
Yeah.
artists.
And then when in the late
It was regarded
yeah.
as soft.
No, then in the 2000s, right?
It
R&B
merged.
No, then in the 2000s, R&B artists needed hip hop artists to succeed.
R&B was still moving in
It
the
was still
early
moving.
2000s,
Yeah,
but not like
that's
yeah,
I'm talking about now the
the
trajectory.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
There's times when you need me and there's times when I need you.
Yeah, that's how it is.
R&B's fallen off heavy though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they no more sing in the rain. Do you notice?
Global warming is not rain.
Okay, anything else on Def Jam?
Def Jam. So they are still okay. I can give you some maybe notable artists that have
Current
been
or
there.
old.
Okay,
Either
actually,
one.
Yeah, like starting. Okay, can we just give you a few? They've had like 2 Chainz, Beastie Boys, like you mentioned, Big Sean, Dave East, DMX, Fabulous, Hit Boy, Jadakiss, Ja Rule, Jay-Z, Young Jeezy, Janina Aiko,
Janae Aiko.
Jhené Aiko,
Jhené.
yeah.
Ross was signed over there also.
Jeremiah, yeah, LL Cool J, Logic, Ludacris as well.
Yeah.
He's also on
Through
Def
DTP.
Jam South.
yeah, Def Jam
Through
South.
DTP, yeah.
Yeah.
Def Jam South. Yeah.
Nas was there, even a local artist, Nasty C.
Nasty C, yes.
Is
He's
there.
on Def Jam Africa, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Public Enemy, Pusha T, Redman, Rihanna. You've got Snoop was there as well.
Snoop,
Slick Rick.
also, he was also like a CEO. I don't know before that. Or
I think towards like the late
Yeah.
to 2019.
No,
or
this
so.
was now recently.
Yeah.
Recently,
Yeah,
before
he took
he-
a executive position
took
there to
executive-
Def Jam.
Def
A
Jam.
consultant, yeah. Also, Young Jock, YG. There's also some artists that's been there. And if those of you all know Def Jam, if you can go back, I know a little bit years ago, we were talking play PS1, PS2. If you do remember
Oh,
the
yeah, the
games.
games.
Def
Def
Jam
Jam.
Vendetta.
Def Jam
Fight for
Vendetta.
New York.
For New York.
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
Def. I had a Def Jam icon also.
Yeah, that was one of
Yeah.
the games where you could actually fight with a lot of
Yeah,
artists. They had
and-
everybody.
Yeah,
there.
and Def
They
Def
had
Jam
artists that
icon.
weren't even on Def Jam
Yeah.
in the game.
Exhibit was there.
Yeah.
Snoop.
Yeah, I think the Vendetta one was the wrestling one, eh?
No, the
No.
Vendetta one is the fighting one.
Yeah,
Fight
no,
for New York.
They,
Fight for
no,
New
then
York.
before that there was the wrestling, the rappers in wrestling, but it was Def Jam. And then the one that I got is the one that I had is Def Jam icon.
You know, I've looked for that game. They never made a
What?
new version
Yeah,
of
I've also-
because they
also
gave
looked.
it 50 Cent Bulletproof, but it
Yeah.
was like
Then
was like
the-
GTA.
Yeah, no, the
That was like
Bulletproof was
GTA.
in PS2, right?
Mm.
The Vendetta I think was PS2.
Yeah.
The Def Jam icon is in PS3.
Oh, but then PlayStation's got out of my price
Yeah,
range.
but now PlayStation is on 5, and it's
Yeah.
out of our price range.
Because there's no more Def Jam games.
Yeah.
There's no more Def Jam rappers. That's the unfortunate reality. But hopefully they fix it up because that's something that has to stay. That can't go under. I think a few years ago they were gonna go under, and some people came in to save it. Like it
Yeah.
has to.
There's been a lot of joint
Because then they got
ventures.
Island Def Jam. I think it
yeah.
was Leo Cohen's.
Island
situation.
Def Jam, yeah.
That was his situation separately.
A lot of joint ventures they did with other labels.
Yeah, but then they stopped doing the joint labels after Murder Inc.
Yeah, after
Because
the
the feds came in, raided Murder
yeah.
Inc. and they
Yeah.
just go away.
yeah.
Then Rockefeller was gone, Rough Riders was in the scope, Murder Inc. was gone, and then State Property and Dubset was Rockefeller, so they fell away
Yeah.
automatically also.
Yeah.
The JVs.
So
But hopefully they recover.
Yeah, because they're legendary and
Who's
What-
taken
what-
over after M's manager? Did they say no?
no,
think he's still
no. I think after M's manager, then I know.
It was recently
No,
that M's
yeah.
managers left. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I said that's when Snoop came.
Cut.
in.
okay.
But Snoop didn't come in as president or CEO.
No,
Snoop
he
came
came
in
as
as a
exec-
consultant
No,
to
he
just
came as executive. He came.
to do something over there, and then he signed
Then when he signed,
Benny the Butcher.
yeah. Then when he left for after that, I didn't.
So
really
at like so on the presidents, so like just a bit of history from like the 88 to 98 was Leo Cohen.
yeah.
Then you had Kevin
Laos.
Laos, yeah.
Kevin Lyles, yeah.
That was like 98 to 2005. Then Jay-Z was there from 2005 to 2007. Then you had from 07 to 2012 was L.A. Reid.
Yeah.
Then Joey
Joey
Manda,
Manda, yeah.
2012 to 2013. Then you had Steve Bartels, 2013 to 2017. Then Rosenberg was there 2018 to 2020. Then you had Jeffrey Harleston, 2020 to 2022. And currently it's Tanji Belogan.
If you're a hip hop head, you know most of those names because they've been mentioned in music.
Like,
They've been mentioned in things like L.A. Reid, Leo Cohen, all these people have been.
L.A. Reid with LaFace Records.
LaFace.
With
Who
Babyface.
signed
yeah.
Outkast and
Yeah.
what was the other group from? I forgot their name, but they were like involved in Outkast and R&B stuff and their things.
Yeah,
LaFace,
L.A.
like
Reid.
Babyface.
Yeah. L.A. Reid and Babyface, basically R&B.
And any word on
Definitely.
Rick Rubin or
He left years ago. He just do production.
No, yeah, it's
So-
legendary. You know that album of Eminem? I think it's Marshall Mathers LP too.
Why do you find a way to go back there?
and Russell Simmons?
Russell Simmons.
He was always involved, like,
Yeah.
but it was. I think once he gave it up.
Yeah,
then
once
he
he
did
he
Fat
sold-
Farm and he did
yeah,
other
did-
stuff like
he,
that.
he sold, like I said, he sold 100% of his shares. I think he sold his shares to Universal Music Group.
And then Rick Rubin went into production, and a lot of Def Jam artists still worked with him as a producer. Like,
Yeah.
to come to him to produce the records, like I think the Black Album.
The Black Album is there
With
with
Jay-
99 Problems.
He did that. He did a whole lot of records for Def Jam artists after that. So he's still revered as a producer, and his voice within the culture is still held in high
Yeah.
regard.
But in terms of Def Jam, is he?
I think they must have kept some sort of percentage. You're not just gonna leave and throw that away because you lost millions and millions and
I
millions. So
think only
hopefully they kept something, even a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, but what Russell Simmons, I think he gave it.
He wanted out.
Yeah.
And he was going through some problems recently.
I think
but
yeah,
won't get into that.
I think there was a reason why he sold all this at that specific time.
Yeah, and then afterwards he had Fat Farm and didn't have a liquor also. And then he did Def Comedy Jam. I think it was
Def
him
Comedy
as well.
Jam, yeah, it was him.
So they've branched out into lots of different.
Yeah, they had a
Avenues,
clothing line,
yeah.
they touring. Hopefully Def Jam goes back onto their perch.
Legendary label. Anything
Alright.
else you'd like to add on to that?
No, but it was Def.
Now you're gonna jam to it. 'Cause we're gonna play you a
Just
jam.
lighted the manager and the
Next
label the
week.
jam.
Okay, so next we're gonna bring you our focused artist of the week. Today we're gonna be speaking on Trip Lee, our gospel artist. Government name William Lee Barfeld III, better known as Trip Lee. He's an American Christian rapper. He's signed to Reach Records.
So his nickname will be Bill Lee.
Bill Lee.
I don't know why Bill is a nickname for William.
Well, yeah,
but
because
anyway,
B
makes
and
no
B and
sense.
W,
Why
yeah.
wouldn't it just
There's
be
a lot of these ones. Like
Richard and Dick?
I would
Yeah.
rather say Wally. But then Willie sounds a bit.
But still, why would Burl be a nickname for William? It makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, continue with Burley.
Okay, so with Triple E signed to Reach Records, he's recorded both as a solo artist as well as he's a founding member of the 116 Clique, originally from Dallas, Texas. So he serves as an adult pastor at the Concord Church. Okay, he was nominated for 2 Dove Awards and won Stellar Award for Best Hip Hop Album in 2011. Okay, Harry Styles, anything you got
Right,
on
and yeah, then basically, this is our what's it called? We speak about Rich Records. We speak about 116 Click, right? He is one of the founding members of the 116 Click. So in 2004, he meets Lecrae at a concert, and then month later, they decide talking and building what's it called, the building with each other. And they begin to then Lecrae basically assisted him again. You'll have Lecrae a lot when speaking about 116 Click, Rich Records. Then basically, yeah, his debut album was titled "If They Only Knew." It was released basically a few days after his high school graduation, right?
Okay, so just like a bit on him, he was around like in his 12 years old where he was into sports and into music. So like he kind of decided by the age of 14 that music is the career that he wants to pursue. So he's been in hip hop and in the game for since a young age.
Yeah, and then so like you said, he was nominated for a bunch of awards. But then he won I think it was 2017. Just correct me if I'm wrong. 2017. He won a rap hip hop album of the year for The Waiting Room.
The Waiting, yeah.
But on what award show?
I don't kind of recognize which one.
Album of the year could have been like a BET award, could have been a
it
Grammy,
should be
could have
the
been an
Christian
MTV.
hip hop.
The
Yeah.
Christian hip hop
Oh,
chart,
okay,
the
then.
gospel,
Yeah.
the gospel hip hop charts.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
That was Triple E.
Burley.
Probably.
Triple E.
Triple E. William, so he's
William
been also
Wallace.
in the game for quite a while. He actually took a break from like touring because they were touring for quite a few years with the 116 clique, and then now he's more in the pastor. He's like a pastor, but he still drops albums. I think he's got about 5 albums out. So could
What's
you
the
check
difference
his stuff?
between the 116 and the 112?
116 clique is
Okay.
The answer was 4, but anyway.
Oh.
I wasn't asking musically, I was just asking what's the difference between 116 and 112.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
okay. Mr.
Mr. Teacher.
Yo, we're gonna get into
Shiki
one
is
is an
our-
R&B group, one is a hip hop
yeah,
group.
that's what I was thinking of. Okay, but Shiki is our teacher. He's our educator. As you can see already.
We're gonna hit you with the drum roll. Pass it over to the homie Ari Styles while he gets ready to change his voice.
Let me change my voice.
Put the auto tune on and say.
Chicka. Okay. This past week in hip hop history. Did I say it right this time? Okay. This past week in hip hop history.
You said it right. You shouldn't have to say it again.
I will say it again. This past week in hip hop history. 3 times the charm. Okay. Cypress Hill releases a self-titled debut album in August 1991. Cypress Hill.
Now, when you say self-titled debut album, there is people out here that don't know what you mean.
Yeah, that's why I said Cypress Hill again.
Oh, okay. Alright.
NWA released the EP 100 Miles and Running in August 1990. I think that's where
They does
Ice Cube, right? And Ice Cube comes back at him.
With no Vaseline.
With no Vaseline. Yeah. And yeah, in South Africa, people like using Vaseline.
Get the straight razors in the Vaseline.
August 15th, 1985, Nipsey Hussle was born.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
Yup.
peace, yeah. Organized Confusion releases their second album, Stress the Extinction Agenda, in August 1994. Group members are Prince Paul and Pharoah Monch.
Organized?
Confusion.
Oh, I thought you said organized noise. Okay, continue.
In August 17th, 1995, the final episode of Yo MTV Raps aired.
Didn't they bring it back? Or they bring it back currently?
Ah,
I think they're trying to bring it back.
Yeah, because it would be quite cool, quite
Mhm.
awesome.
We had Yo TV and you had MTV, you put it together, it's Yo MTV Raps.
Yo MTV Raps. Yeah. Scarface releases his second solo album, The World Is Yours, in August 1993.
People, Scarface is not a real character. That was Al Pacino. Al Pacino did not release an album. We are talking about the rapper Scarface
Yeah.
from Ghetto Boys.
From Ghetto Boys, yeah.
He also was tied into Def Jam.
Probably
was,
Def Jam South.
Yeah, Def Jam
Yeah,
South.
Def
But he
yeah.
was signed to Jay Prince as a. I'm not from Houston, but I rap a lot.
Yeah.
Rap a lot. He was rap
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Mobb Deep released their fourth album, Murder Music, in August 1999.
Recently, I've been seeing. The other week, I was talking about it. We were having a conversation if Jadakiss got the classic album. Now I've been seeing conversations between who's better, Mobb Deep or the Locks.
Oh, that's a good.
But we don't have the time to get into it.
It's
Yeah.
a good
It's
one.
going to take me some time to break that down.
August 17, 1969, Post the News of
Pass
third-
the news.
Post the News.
Pass the news. From De La Soul.
Yeah.
Pass the news.
Okay. Sorry, my teacher of De La Soul was born, right? Master Killer of Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang
Clan
Clan.
was born August 18, 1970. Royal Flush releases debut album Ghetto Millionaire in August 1997.
Royal Flush, the poker move or the rapper?
The rapper.
He was one of the first people to respond to the Dog Pound's New York also. I think it was CNN first with LA and then Royal Flush after that.
T.I. released his second album, Trap Music, in August 2003. I think they
A
were.
lot of people think it's his first album because it was the first
Yeah.
successful one. He
That
had an
one,
album.
I think that in that album they got that song "Ain't Never Scared." You know that one?
I'm not sure what's on there. I'm not sure. I know the song. I'm not
Mm.
sure what's on the album, but I know he had an album before that didn't do so well,
Mm.
and then that one day came out.
In 2003.
And that's why he
something.
calls himself. He did create trap music because
did.
he's the first one that says trap, not the sound trap music as we know it today,
Yeah.
just the whole trap. Because there was people rapping about drug dealing before that,
Mm.
but him just calling
Calling
it
it
trap
trap
music and
music.
rapping about
Yeah.
drug dealing, putting that whole thing together.
August 19th, 1970, Fat Joe was born.
Fat Joe lost a lot of weight. Should we still call him Fat Joe or Joe?
Call him Flow Joe.
Oh,
From his first song,
so
Flow Joe.
now we confuse him with Joe the singer.
Then, nobody does it better than this. Music and Me.
Nate Dogg, weren't you?
Music
The
and Me.
G-Funk era.
Yeah, the Chief Funk era.
Music, you mean?
Yeah,
that's
you
a
know
Nate
that
Dogg.
Music and Me
Nate Dogg,
also. Yeah,
yeah.
Nate Dogg, yeah. August 19th.
Before
19
auto-tune.
Before auto-tune. August 19, 1969, Nate Dogg was born. The king of hooks.
R.I.P.
That was the
Eh.
first gangster R&B artist. Technically, he was an R&B artist because he was a singer.
He's a
He was
Technically,
a singer.
this was before the Chris Browns and all these people started
Yeah.
wanting to fight it. And before the R&B singers were looked at as soft,
Yeah.
Nate Dogg was not looked at as soft.
Yeah.
Because there's even videos
Because
of
of
him fighting.
Beating people and Method Man at the end screaming, "I loved us." Check it out. He was beating up. Who was it? Guys from Ruthless. What is that group called?
Lynch. No.
They were Ruthless Records.
Ruthless Man. Sorry.
BG Knockout and Traystar. I can't
Oh,
remember
yeah.
what they were called.
Yeah, BG Knockout and Tracer, yeah. Okay, so anyway, that was it for this past week in hip hop history.
There wasn't
Until
much
next
this week,
time.
eh?
Yeah,
Some
not
weeks
much.
it go on forever and ever and
Yeah.
ever.
I like those weeks.
you enjoy it. It's your time to shine.
So guys, it was the show, the turntable here on Active FM.
With Shiggy, Ari Styles, and D Money, where radio has never been better.
And this is the turntable where we keep you learned and get you turned, or get you turned and keep you learned, however you want to look at it. Bye bye then.
So we're gonna end it off with the verse.
Did you just say bye bye then?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to
To
look
tell
at
you
it.
tell
haven't
me, guys.
noticed it. I've been saying it for the past few weeks. You haven't
I would
noticed.
have said something if I heard you say bye bye then.
All right, so we're gonna end it with the verse from Matthew 22, verse 37 to 39. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. and the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself.